And we are live. I gotta look here. I am using my Osmo Action 4 DJI to stream this live stream. So I was just trying to get used to it and figure things out. But let's get started on food addiction and understanding this to lose weight. It is super important to understand this because I've been doing a lot of research lately, tons of research, just learning. And it explains why I struggle so much with binge eating. I remember being a kid and around the 2000s, and I was like learning how to cook on my own. I was about 13 years old, like 11, 12, 13 years old. And at the time, they were adding trans fats to like burgers and stuff. And I remember just like at first I would have like one and a fry and like a couple of fries, like a normal serving. And then over time, that would turn into two burgers and tons of fries. And I would just eat and eat and eat. Luckily, as a child, I was not obese or overweight because kids can get away from the effects of food addiction and sugar and all that. But like the foods back then, I bet you they were adding sugar to it. And I would always eat and eat and eat. My mom had to chain up the fridge one time, actually multiple times. She would have to chain the fridge. And she would always like get mad at me for overeating and stuff. And like I literally couldn't control myself. I could not control myself. And as I went through adulthood, it wasn't bad, but after I gave birth to my son and I was in pain, that's when I just got like the addiction came through, and that's when I got like morbidly obese and got to 300 pounds. But we are going to get things started, and I'm going to talk about why food addiction is sugar addiction. And it makes sense because people are more accepting of sugar addiction, but not so much food addiction. Anyway, I just want to say welcome to the chat. Hey, Cheyenne, I see you. Welcome to the chat. Girl, you know I'm ready for this one. Yes, I know you've been doing your research and learning as well. Hey, Manny, welcome from Chicago. So let's just jump into it. I've been listening to tons of podcasts, reading tons of articles, and yes, so food addiction is sugar addiction, and I do have a video coming out on this, and let me explain why food addiction and sugar addiction are the same thing. Basically, manufacturers, the food industry, right? They want to make money. They want people to keep buying their food. So over the years, they've made food addicting by adding fructose. Now, fructose is a naturally occurring sugar, but this sugar is found in fruits with fiber. I don't want people being afraid of fruits because fruits mitigates the effect of fructose through the fiber. So basically, the fiber does something where it transports that fructose to your gut microbiome. So you are not really consuming it, your gut microbiome's consuming it. And I've been learning, you know how they say for pregnant women eat for two? Well, everyone's eating for 1 trillion. We are eating for 1 trillion gut microbes. And we are doing that because we live in a symbiotic relationship with them, meaning that their relationship is beneficial to us and vice versa. We need each other to survive. So we have more microbial cells than we do human cells. And there's a reason for it because the microbes help produce things like short chain fatty acids for us to function. It also helps with vitamin absorption and etc. But let's go back to fructose and everything. So fructose has been increased in the American diet or the Canadian diet. It's kind of the same thing. 25-fold over the last, I would say, until 1980, because 1980 from now, that's when we started seeing the obesity epidemic. That's when we started seeing epic proportions of people just gaining tons of weight. I know I gained weight from like 2000 to about early 2000s, as I mentioned before. The doctor said I was overweight. I was, what was I, 10, 11 years old, but I was 140 pounds and the doctor was concerned. And obviously at the time, no one knew what was happening. So fructose has been added to everything. It's not just added to sugar foods or sweets. It is literally added to normal food. They put it in bread. They use it as preservatives. They put it in burgers because I bought a pack of burgers thinking that it would only have burgers in it. I bought it for my son, and guess what? There was added sugar to the burgers. They put it in everything. Number one, to help preserve the food, and number two, to make it more addicting. Fructose targets the same part of the brain that drugs like alcohol and nicotine does, and illicit drugs like the extreme hardcore drugs that are illegal. Just name any. The white stuff, anything you inject, it targets the same part of the brain. Now, I don't want people thinking that, oh, like food addiction is some made up thing, because I watched a video of someone who was completely ignorant about it, and people like roasted him in the comments when I Googled food addiction. And he was like, oh, it's just some made up thing so we can make an excuse to feel sorry for ourselves. If that's true, then why are we seeing people struggling with losing weight and obesity at an epidemic? Why are we seeing so many people, the ones who are genetically lucky enough, but are they lucky, who are not gaining weight, but they're having other issues? Like they're having skin issues, they're having mental health issues, they're having chronic fatigue issues. Something is going on, and I blame the fructose. So there's that. So fructose is as addicting as those things that I mentioned. And fructose, it creates a physiological effect in the body. It destroys the mitochondria. And why I mentioned the gut bacteria earlier on, it destroys them too. It impacts gut bacteria and it destroys our mitochondria. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the human cellular system. It is an organelle that we adapted many years ago through evolution. I'm not going to get too scientific, but it's basically responsible for creating energy of the cell. And more research, people are coming out and realizing that metabolic disease and mitochondria damage are greatly related, obviously, because the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the human metabolism. And basically what fructose does, it inhibits 3 enzymes important for mitochondrial function. And I want you guys to know with fructose, it does this over time. So again, me as a child, or us eating back in the 2000s, everything was laced with sugar. Back in the 1980s, they're like, fat is the criminal. So what did they replace fat with? With a lot of low fat stuff. But a lot of that stuff had a lot of sugar, added sugar. So over time, we are damaging these mitochondrial organelles within our cells. And mitochondrial damage or mitochondrial health is actually related to health on multiple levels. It's an indication of overall health. It can impact, obviously, weight. There's a link to cancer with mitochondrial damage. There's a link to brain diseases like Alzheimer's and stuff like that. Like the mitochondria is so important. And the fact that fructose is damaging it, it makes sense. And so you get like that damage on the mitochondrial level. So when that happens, oh my God, people have issues with metabolizing fat properly, because I mentioned that it inactivates 3 enzymes. I'm not going to say the enzymes at the top of my head, but one of them is AMP kinase, and AMP kinase is an enzyme that's involved with telling our cells, hopefully I get this right, from turning on that switch to start getting fuel from storage. So start getting glucose from stored fat reserves. So it's just mind-boggling to me how all of this is all related. Obviously, when you eat straight sugar, you feel the addiction and the rush way more quicker. But like, I remember when I would eliminate sugar and would eat like normal foods, I would still get that feeling. I just want to eat, and I can't control myself. So, and I didn't understand why, and it makes sense. Now, just because we know this, it doesn't mean we can't defeat it. We can defeat this. This is not about a victim narrative like that one person said. It's not a victim narrative. This is not about being a victim. It's understanding why people are struggling to eat less food, because we want more of it, because fructose being added to everything. And not only that, that's damaging the mitochondrial DNA, or the mitochondria in general, because the mitochondria does have DNA. It's also if you look at a food label and there's a whole bunch of garbage in it, that stuff is also impacting our gut health. So like our gut is so important in helping us mitigate metabolizing certain things. It also correlates to insulin spikes as well. So I'm just going to look at the chat here just to see what's going on quickly. Oops, I'm at a weird, hi, Julie, welcome. Hi, Daniela, nice to see you. Nice to see you too. Nice to see you. Welcome to the live stream. I agree that sugar is addicting. It is addicting. Like now I can say that sugar addiction and food addiction, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Like you eat processed foods, like junk food, like it boggles my mind. It is the worst advice you can give to someone to help them lose weight. How it's like giving a junkie their drug of choice and tell them, hey, get off this drug. It's the same thing. So it's so important to be eating foods that you have control over. Foods without a label, that's the best thing. And if it does have a label, make sure you are very literate in terms of reading labels. I struggle with literacy with labels all the time because nutrition labels lie. But whole foods are the best way to go. These issues are so generational, nature versus nurture. I agree. Dr. Mindy Pels was talking about how she grew up. She was born in 1969, so she grew up in the 70s, and she was saying that no one was obese, no one had peanut allergies, no one had diabetes or anything like that. But now we're seeing more and more of it. So what happened in the 1980s? That's when the whole standard American diet came in, and that's when we saw people getting really, really sick, and fat was criminalized, when fat is one of the best things you can eat for your metabolic health, as long as it's not combined with sugar or anything. Oh, thank you so much for the super chat, Julie. I appreciate it. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Definitely that helps me out in the algorithm for some reason. I'm not sure why. I'm still trying to figure out YouTube, but I figured that out on a live stream once. Hey, Daniela, good to see you. Hey, Simone, nice to see you. Nice to see you. So going to that, I think anyone on a weight loss journey, since it's an addiction, it's important to wean yourself off of these foods slowly. I think that's the best method. Going cold turkey can work. I've gone cold turkey. And the best way to do it cold turkey is fasting. Now, let me talk about ways that you can crush sugar addiction, food addiction, same thing. Same thing. Now that I realize it's the same thing. It makes sense because they put fructose in everything. These friggin' people. So the way you can crush food addiction, you guys know, it's making that metabolic switch and reducing insulin spikes. So I'll talk about two of them separately. So making the metabolic switch, as you guys know from my videos, if you don't, quick refresher, is putting your body in a state of burning your storage. So basically your fat. Putting your body in a state of low blood sugar, because when your blood sugar is low, your body's going to have to go in to the fat reserves. So first, it will obviously start off with glycogen. So glycogen in the muscle, and then glycogen in the liver. It'll go there. Once those stores are used up, then it's going to start going to fat, and that's when the magic happens. So when you are in a state of fat burning, you are also in a state of healing. So when you're in that state, guess what's happening? Your mitochondria is going to begin to repair itself. You got to do this in a way that you're doing it consistently. You can do it with fasting. Fasting is the fastest way to make that metabolic switch. I would say, I was watching Dr. Mindy Pels, and she says we turn on the fat burning system based on research about 10 to 12 hours of no eating. I would argue, because that's good. That's when it starts. That's when it begins. But the longer you're in that state, and the deeper you're in that state, you're going to get that metabolic repair. And that's where it kind of crushes the food addiction situation, because your mitochondria is going to start working properly. But it takes time. This is going to be years and years of unloading, years and years of damage. But it can happen fairly quickly depending how intense you do it. But I would recommend people getting themselves into autophagy at around 17 hours. So I want to talk about autophagy and ketones. So ketones, when your body produces ketones, that's when it's in its fat burning state. So it's in a state of healing. Autophagy happens around 17 hours of fasting, but autophagy is dependent on protein. If you have too much protein, it will knock you out of autophagy. So you can do an autophagy fast. I know there's fasts where you eat less than, it's kind of like it is a fast, because it's kind of similar to the PSMF diet, but opposite, because the PSMF diet is the protein sparing diet. So you're going unlimited protein. And autophagy fast is a type of fast where you're eating 8 to 1,000 calories, but you're keeping your protein 20 grams or less. So you're obviously going to be eating more fat. You can do it in that way. It is a type of fasting. It's pretty intense. You can separate fasting, because you can do fasting with food. Dr. Mindy Pels kind of opened up about this, and I tried this when I did my other fast. I started introducing fat bombs to help me stay in the fast longer. And a great fat bomb is avocado. And it kept me, based on my blood sugar, I was wearing a CGM. I'm going to buy another one so I can actually film it as I'm doing it. At first, when I first got it, I didn't know how to use it. So I just wanted to get used to it. But I'll purchase another one. But when you use a fat bomb, it will still keep you at that low blood sugar state. But anyway, what was I saying? So basically, autophagy is dependent on protein being low, and ketosis, being in ketosis, is dependent on blood sugar being low. And obviously that's going to mean you're going to keep your carbs low. But some people can be in ketosis with higher amount of carbs. Those are the people who are very fast adapted. It could be someone who did carnivore diet for a long time, or keto diet for a long time, or is doing like ADF or really, intense fasting. They're more fast adapted. So the reason why making the metabolic switch helps you reverse food addiction is that it starts repairing you. It starts getting your satiety signals properly. It allows your mitochondria to work properly because you're getting mitochondrial healing, which is so important. The reason why people are struggling with weight is because of damage to the mitochondria and to just damage in general. That's why I hate it. Just watched a video by Greg Doucette, and he was bashing the carnivore diet because he was doing a video on Paul Saladino, who was a big advocate of the carnivore diet, but he's since retracted and is now eating fruits. It was kind of like a natty or not, but I didn't like how he's like, oh, let's just eat normal. Let's all just eat a healthy diet and eat normal. Not everyone can do that. There are some people who need to stay on the carnivore diet because they are so metabolically damaged. And it's not just from food, it's from medications, birth control for women, antibiotics, which I was just on. Don't worry, I'm going to be fixing that. I've been doing really intense OMAD fasts because I can't do long fasts right now because I keep getting headaches. But I've been doing 24-hour fasts daily, and I'm eating within a 15-minute eating window. So I'm literally eating nothing. I will film one video today because I want to get back to filming that. But medications that people have been on, it has ruined people to the point where some people can't even have, they're so metabolically damaged and their gut microbiome is like suppressed that they can't even have a blueberry without a reaction. So I hate it when people are like, oh, can we all just have a normal diet? No, there are some people who can't eat normal. There are some people who have to do things like keto in order to lose weight. Like me, I was metabolically damaged with whatever happened to me during pregnancy. And with me eating the junk food and me being stressed out, I metabolically damaged myself by eating McDonald's daily. I love this stuff. But now that I'm learning more and more, it's like, I'd rather make my own version of it without all the junk. But by eating all the crap food, the fast food is laced with fructose. It is laced with fructose. You want someone to lose weight, you gotta, why are you feeding the addict the drug? Is fructose. That's like the worst advice you can give anybody. Because I remember when I did OMAD and I did junk food OMAD because I was told to at the time, I felt like crap and my cravings went up. Obviously they did because the fructose was going in there and damaging my cells. So yeah, anyway, I've been rambling. Let me look at the chat. Oh, I said that already. Hi. Help, I have a sugar addiction. Please, any alternatives to make it easy for me? Okay, I have to know more about you. And remember, I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert or anything. There are different strategies you can use. I'm learning from people like Dr. Mindy Pelch, who's coached thousands of people. It depends. Like, you can throw in a fast. Start doing OMAD. OMAD is a great tool. Maybe let me just put myself in your shoes. Let's say I'm assuming I'm just addicted. Yeah, okay, I'm addicted to sugar, which I was in your shoes, and I was recently in your shoes thanks to Christmas. I'm always battling this. And the way I battle this is learning more. And when I learn more, I'm just like, I love myself too much to do that to myself. I want better for myself, and I want other people to do the same. And being on YouTube is also a self-check system for me. So let's say I'm like you, I'm in a complete situation where I'm just completely addicted to sugar, which means you're going to be addicted to food as well. It's just a horrible cycle. So I would first start off with the common sense diet. Start eating whole foods. Start eating foods without a label. Start doing that, and you'll see some weight loss results. And then once you start eating that, maybe start throwing in intermittent fasting because you got to get the repair. You got to throw different things at it because everyone's going to respond to this differently. Me, I loved keto. My body loves keto. Some people, their body loves the carnivore diet, but my body loved keto. And my body loves fasting because I trained myself to do it by learning so much. There's another thing you can do is start doing the 16-8 fast. So the standard intermittent fasting, start doing that. Just skip breakfast, have lunch and dinner. Start that, do that consistently for weeks on end. If you're still struggling, then try, and you can't, and fasting is a struggle, try keeping your carbs under 50 grams and your net carbs, and start maybe feeding more foods with fiber in it, because you want to feed your gut. Your gut microbiome loves fiber because fiber is the transport system to them. It's how they get their food. And I've been learning a lot about calories. I might turn into one of those people that says calories in, calories out isn't really, a thing for everyone. Where's my phone? He said, I was making notes on the podcast I was listening to with Andrew Huberman and Dr. Robert Lustig. And it was just here it is, a powerful podcast. I don't even know. I don't think my notes are here. I think they were in a book. Yeah, they were in a book. But he was talking about how calories in, calories out, like that is true in terms of the burning 1 calorie in, 1 calorie out. But when you put it in the human body, it processes it differently. And he used 3 examples. Fiber is one of them. So when you eat tons of fiber, guess what you're doing? Like fruits and stuff, you are feeding your gut microbiome. So your gut microbiome, I believe, is probably getting a certain, I don't want to say a number because I forget the number, a certain percentage of your food. So it's not going to you, it's going to your gut microbiome. That's why high fiber diets work, because you're full in your stomach, but your body isn't absorbing all of those calories. Those calories are being sent down to the gut microbiome in your stomach and in your intestines. So there's the whole thing with calories in, calories out. But I want to continue answering that question. Well, it is answering the question. You're saying to eat more fiber. So fibrous foods are vegetables. You can buy breads that are high in fiber. I love keto breads for that very reason. It doesn't matter if it's insoluble fiber or soluble fiber. It will still feed the gut microbiome. And yeah, if you eat a lot of fiber, it will help mitigate that. And it will also help reduce glucose spikes, which is another way you can combat things for someone who doesn't want to give up carbs. For someone who doesn't want to give up carbs, you can do 2 things. You can either eat in a time-restricted manner. I highly recommend doing OMAD, fasting for at least 20 hours. Or what you can do is the food order hack. I learned this one from Glucose Goddess. So to start off, you would start your meal with taking some vinegar, apple cider vinegar, any vinegar. The acetic acid in vinegar basically helps to curb the blood glucose spike, where I think it's like 30%, because they're noticing the blood glucose spike, and those spikes that are happening all the time is actually impacting people's health. And what I learned from Dr. Robert Lustig, he talked about on the podcast about mice. He talked about this mice that basically in the kidney, there was no sugar, but there was a bunch of insulin, and insulin is damaging people. That's another story, because excess insulin is actually stored in your fat cells, stored in your stomach especially. And I just don't understand why doctors give insulin to diabetics. I don't get it. Type 2 diabetics. I don't get it. But yeah, I totally forgot what I was talking about with the fiber, the gut, the food order hack. Okay, so you can do that to help curb your blood glucose spikes, because those spikes are crazy. If you can afford or get your hands on a blood glucose monitor, or a continuous blood glucose monitor, or the prick one isn't so fun because you got to prick your finger a lot, whereas the blood glucose monitor doesn't hurt. Get your hands on it and understand yourself. Understand what you can have and what doesn't spike your blood sugar. So you can use acetic acid to help reduce your blood sugar, which I did. It worked. I actually had some earlier to help crush some hunger I was dealing with OMAD. And then the food order hack that I learned from Glucose Goddess. So basically, when you eat your food, perhaps try eating your food in this order. Have your vegetables first. So anything that's high in fiber, your vegetables first. You want to have your vegetables first. And then You want to have your fats and proteins afterwards, and then you can have your starches and your other carbohydrates. So you can do it in that way where you don't have to give up carbs. But I'm learning more and more that, again, I've said this before, I'm a big advocate in metabolic flexibility, and here is why. I don't believe in staying on one diet or one form of fasting forever. You need variation. Number one, your body will adapt. Your body will adapt to a fasting regimen, whether it be OMAD or whatnot. Number two, when you are diversified with what you eat, you are feeding your gut microbiome. Like the key is you want to make biodiversity in your gut. When you are eating different foods, you're eating carbs one day, or maybe you're doing carnivore for a day or two, which I'll talk about in a second because I might actually do carnivore, but for a day or two. That's like my max of carnivore. Even doing carnivore for a couple of days a week, you'll see a tremendous amount of results because it's so hard to overeat on carnivore with OMAD or even in general. But you want to be flexible with what you eat. And carbs aren't bad as long as it's nature's carbs. If the carbs come from a tree or the ground and it's not heavily processed, have carbs. But again, diets like keto and stuff do help. But I'm starting to believe in being flexible. Because when I'm flexible and diverse with what I eat, my gut microbiome is diverse. And when my gut microbiome is diverse, it's going to help keep my weight steady. It's going to help me be healthy on multiple levels. The gut microbiome affects mental health, brain health. It affects insulin levels. It's crazy. Like, we're learning so much with the gut microbiome. And I think a lot of people are sick because of, again, the gut microbiome and the constant insulin spikes. We need to level those out. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna look at the chat. There was something else that came to mind, but I forgot. Geez. I'm missing the chat here. Sorry, guys. I just got on a rampage. Yeah, so with, like, just to summarize quickly, with food addiction, you're going to have to do one of the diets. I would say do it for 3 months. Try keto, try fasting. Just get away from, like, slowly wean yourself off from fructose and sugar. Just make it slow, like a slow progression. Maybe, start off with having one sugar snack for one day. Or let's say you're eating like 3 sugar snacks a day. Just break it down like day by day or week by week. Like, 1 week you may have just like 2 snacks, and then the next week you'll have 1 snack, and the week after that you'll have 0. So yes, I have heard the Mediterranean diet. My doctors say it's healthy. Have you tried it? I'm not. What is the Mediterranean diet? As long as it's coming from whole foods, it should be fine. And it sounds like it is, because the people from what do you call it? It should be fine. But another thing is the GMO content. That's the problem. You want to go for ancient grains, or get your grains from Italy and France and Europe, because they are very good at preserving the natural grain. Because I was learning, Dr. Mindy Pels was talking about, there's a B1 toxin in grains, and that is what's causing people to have gluten allergies. Like I said, I remember watching a video with this girl on her channel. She went to Italy. She met an American who had chronic issues with gluten. And he's like, when I go to Italy, I have no problem with the gluten. I can eat all the pasta and I'm fine. That's because their pasta is natural, in the sense that it was not filled with toxins. So I think the B1 toxin has something to do with the pesticides. It may have to do with, I forget the name of that. It was on the whole Monsanto thing, and everyone was attacking Monsanto. But the B toxin is put into the crops here because they want to prevent it from being eaten when it's growing. So being damaged by bugs and stuff. But yeah, it's like, gluten is actually not the enemy. It is what they're doing to the gluten. It's how we are changing the genomics of the gluten, which is making people sick. But yeah, the Mediterranean diet should be fine as long as it's whole foods. I'm trying to figure out what it is. I've heard of it, but as long as it's whole foods, you are good to go. Oh, heart healthy eating plan. Okay, yeah, emphasizes fats, whole grains. See, the whole grains part. Ancient grains. Get ancient grains. You can buy ancient grains. I believe my keto bread is an ancient grain. So ancient grain is any grain that wasn't genetically modified, pretty much. Yes. Fruits, vegetables, yeah, beans, nuts, yeah. As long as you don't, like, some people get a reaction to certain vegetables and beans. I think it's something to do with the oxalate stuff, but that's if your gut microbiome's poor. You'll figure it out. But if it works for you, I would say the Mediterranean diet is good because it says here, it's a heart healthy eating plan that emphasizes healthy fats, whole grains, fruits, vegetables, beans, nuts, and seeds. Yeah, pretty much. I think that's fine. Just avoid any it's just the whole grains. You got to avoid the GMO stuff. But I'm noticing they're importing stuff from other countries. Like I just got pasta, non-GMO pasta from my son. I'm seeing it at Superstore, which is a Canadian supermarket. They're importing it from Italy, and I had it and I had no problem with it. No problem with it. So yeah, you can find it. Speak on it, sis. Aw, thank you. Thank you. I'm very passionate about this stuff because it's so frustrating how people are like, they can't lose weight. And then like major fitness YouTubers are like, just don't do this, don't do that. I remember who was the YouTuber? I gotta figure out his name. What is his name? Not the YouTuber, but Dorian Yates. Dorian Yates is a famous bodybuilder, and I was watching John Bravo TV. He does like fitness documentaries. It's pretty true. It's pretty cool. I love it. He deserves way more subscribers than he has. So much junk there on freaking social media. But Dorian Yates, he even said it. The way to lose weight, people are making it complicated. For some people, it has to be complicated because they are metabolically ill. But let's just take that apart. He's like, basically, weigh yourself daily, track your food. If you're not losing weight, okay, like cut it by 300 calories. He's talking about people who are bodybuilding and who want to cut. Do it again. Okay, if you're having issues, remove the carbs. That's what he said. Remove the carbs. We all know that eating less carbs puts you in a state of fat burning. So like bodybuilders do it all the time. Like it's just it's showing something. But again, I believe in being flexible with everything. Do you have any tips on how to stick with fasting when you have a family and you're the main chef? Ooh, that is a good question. So I don't know if you have someone that can help, but what I did is that I seasoned a bunch of meat for my son, and I basically told his dad to cook it for him. If not, I think the best thing to do on a weekend morning when you're first like starting a fast or whenever you're not fasting, cook in bulk. That's the easiest thing I would say. Cook in bulk and make sure your kids and whoever is in your family has enough food for a couple of days. Like you got to time the bulk cooking with when you're going to fast. So let's say you want to start a 3-day fast, but you got to make sure your kids are fed and everything. So what I would do in that situation, I'd wake up first thing in the morning on a Saturday morning when I don't have work or anything. And I'm like, either I'm in the middle of a fast or I'm about to start a fast. I will cook in the morning. That's what I do. Cook in the morning when I'm least hungry. Like when I'm fasting, I'm not hungry in the morning, especially since you've been doing OMAD for a while. I know you're probably adapted with not eating breakfast and not being hungry in the morning. So just cook a big meal in the morning. I know it's a weird time to cook, but it helps. So the meals are cooked and then you can just portion it, control it, or divvy it out. So when it's time to feed them, you just quickly microwave it and you don't have to worry about being tempted. I think that is a good tip. That's something I would do. Joseph says, hi, Daniela, my dear friend. Hello, welcome. Welcome, Joseph. Nice to see you. I have a sweet tooth too. I do too. I've curbed that sweet tooth with stevia. It does help. It does. But obviously you don't have stevia if you're fasting. That's something you don't do. But it's definitely helped curb, but it does spike your blood sugar. When I buy my CGM, I'm going to see how much it does. I don't want to touch real sugar right now. I could do it. If I do it, I'll do it with OMAD. Maybe I'll grab something that's real sugary and see what my blood sugar does. I'll do it with OMAD just to see what happens. Because OMAD will save me because I'll go to bed and I'll be fine. But I might have more cravings the next day. Love Miss Maya says, D-Joy, Manny got me really loving your videos. When you first started, I was disappointed you were shading me when you was working with Cole in the beginning. It was like, oh my God, why mention me? What I did in the when I mentioned, I didn't mean to shade you. I didn't know. When I first started working with Cole, and I know, like, then I started doing research because I went down a rabbit hole and I started getting obsessed with him, and I'm done with that. My brain's working better now. May not be 100%, but when I was working with that man, I was really, 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 really messed up Oh my God, I was not sleeping. But yeah, I would watch him in and out, and I would see videos. There's tons of videos on the whole, diet. And I did see that, and I didn't understand what was happening. And I was reading comments, and I just saw like a whole bunch of like comments, and I was just like, okay. So I must have said that in a way that I was not right state of mind. I didn't mean to shade you at all. Not at all. Like, I was not in the right state of mind. I'm sorry if I hurt you in any way. I did not mean to do that. I didn't mean to shade you at all. I didn't even know the situation. But now after getting, coaching with that guy, I don't know. I may understand what you may have gone through with him, but I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I was not in the right state of mind, but it doesn't make an excuse for me for shading. I think in one of the videos I mentioned something about drama, I think. But yeah, I didn't really understand because I wasn't watching him when he did the whole like fat camp house thing. Again, I was watching him in and out. I could only handle that man in doses. But I've eliminated that being from my sphere, and I wish him all the luck. He'll just leave it at that. If you don't have something good to say about anyone, I'm not going to say anything. But I'm apologize, Miss Maya, and I'm so glad you're here. I hope you're doing well. How's Carnivore working for you? If you're still doing it, Carnivore would be perfect for you. Like, oh, I wish I can do it. I am going to do it. Oh yeah, let me talk about Carnivore. I see your content so differently now. Oh, thank you so much. Let me talk about Carnivore diet. Carnivore diet is so good. I know I bashed it, but it is good. But again, you got to find the metabolic diet that works for you. Now, let me list all the metabolic diets. There's keto, there's carnivore diet, there's low carb, which is 50 grams of carbs or less. That's not necessarily keto, but that's one of the diets. And then there's like fast mimicking diets like PSMF, anything that limits your carbs. So going back to the carnivore diet, it works beautiful at helping you crush your hunger. It is so powerful. But with someone like me who exercises like a lunatic, which I haven't been lately because I've been having issues with my brain and stuff, but it's hard. It's hard to work out the way I do without carbs. But now I was watching Dr. Mindy Pelz's video. I think I'm gonna do 1 to 2 carnivore diets here and there during the week, because the carnivore diet is a great reset. It's a great reset. It's a great elimination diet. But someone for like you, Miss Maya, keep going with it. Like, it is such a beautiful diet. If you need a break and you need to throw in keto, fine. If you need a break doing something else, that's fine. But carnivore diet is so good for that. It really is. It's a great resource. And I hate that Greg just said bashed it, because it can really help people. It will really definitely help people repair the metabolic damage that's happened to our mitochondria and the overeating and stuff. God, I love food. I still love food. I'm struggling with it. And I've been fasting, so it's been helping me not have cravings. But the carnivore diet is so good for that. It puts you in a low blood sugar state. It crushes that hunger, and you are full. That's the key. Doing a diet that makes you full. It could be carnivore. It could be a high fiber diet. Any of those diets, anything that keeps you full and satisfied is a diet that anyone can stick to. But I think it's so great. But I appreciate you being here for the live stream. Thank you so much. And I'm so sorry. I feel so bad. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I was messed up. I'm not proud of my actions back then. I hit my head. I'm talking about other things too, even in my personal life. Lord have mercy. My son called me out on stuff. I was not well. Oh, I was so messed up. But it's okay. I'm learning to forgive myself, because I'm very hard on myself. I'm learning to forgive myself. And there's stuff, I'll talk about that in a video, but just learning how to deeply love yourself and forgive yourself for all the things you do, and not punishing yourself for making a mistake, for overeating, or the way you may have treated someone or something. I'm very critical. So I'm learning to love myself. I'm learning. It's a process. It's an ongoing process. Joseph says, love plenty. Oh, yes. Plenty salad and fruit and vegetables. Yes. Fruits, vegetables, all that stuff. Good for you. And again, I hate it when people are like, oh, fruits are bad because of the fructose. The fructose is being fed to your gut microbiome because of the fiber. There is one fruit that you might have to be careful with, but I'm not even going to say it because it sounds so stupid to say. Only because, from what I've learned, it's bananas. Don't avoid bananas though, because I want to eat bananas to help me with potassium. I'm gonna start eating in a way that corresponds to Dr. Mindy Pelz's thing. I know I said I was doing keto. I am doing keto for a couple of days, but I'm gonna do it according to my cycle, and I'm gonna talk about that in a second. Bananas, the problem with bananas is that they've been so genetically modified that they have more fructose than fiber, but don't avoid bananas. But anyway, other fruits, they're good for you, okay? Fruits are good. They get mitigated. The fructose in there gets mitigated. Oops, I got typos. You know what I mean? Yes, I do know what you mean, girl. I do know what you mean. And I'm here for you. Just message me on Instagram or Facebook. I'm never on Facebook. If you ever need some advice or help, I'm here. I will help you get through this because I know the battle. It's not easy, but it can be done. Don't get discouraged. It can be done. Once you get into the rhythm of it, it can be done. We need a community here. We need to support each other through this. Like, that is key. And that's what Manny is trying to do. And I love Manny for that. We need a community of people doing this together because this is not easy. It's not easy. And it's not only that, you're navigating life, you know? And it's not just like you have the food addiction and you're dependent on it. It's the other things. It's the emotions that come up, you know, the emotions that you're struggling with. That makes it harder. Stresses. But if we have each other and we're supporting each other, we'll get through. You know, we're stronger in numbers. We got this. DJoy is giving such value in these lives. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much, Manny. I appreciate it. It makes me want to learn more because I love science and I'm a science nerd and I love learning. Trust me, I'll be reading a lot and stuff now that my brain is back and forth, but it's starting to retain information. I just want my brain back. The big problem that I have when it comes with I cheat for Christmas or the holidays, yes, I know what you're going to say, I think. I start craving more food, especially sugary food. I know. I had to literally start fasting. No food for 3 days. Yes, Julie, that's exactly what happened to me. And that's why I started off the year with that 48-hour fast that I still haven't posted because I'm having body image issues because of everything that's happened. But things are coming down. I will post that video. But yes, coming out of Christmas is so hard. And I think fasting was the quickest way to do it for me personally. And it sounds like for you, you can still do it with diet. I think going carnivore will help because carnivore is basically an intense fast, but not really. It's like a food fast. I would call carnivore a food fast. PSMF diet is a good food fast. Any of those diets will help. Any fast mimicking diets or fasting, I would say. Can you call carnivore diet a fast? You're fasting from carbs. But yes, the holidays, oh my God. It's so bad. Like, and it's the thing about the holidays is we eat like crap at the worst time of year when it's dark and it's cold and our body needs healthy food. Our body needs sunlight, but we're torching it with all this food and alcohol. Oh, I'm so done with it. I have not drank in a while, mainly because I was on Tylenol 3s, but I don't want to drink. Like, I have no desire to drink because, oh my gosh, when I was struggling a lot at the beginning of my weight loss journey, I drank a lot because I would use alcohol and things that I was so unhealthy. I still am. I still struggle. But back then, what I would do, I would use alcohol so I can eat more, and I would also use cannabis so I can eat more. I just wanted, because I didn't feel anything. Again, like what happens with food addiction is that it messes up your dopamine receptors. That's why a good 48-hour fast is good to do to reset your dopamine, because Dr. Mindy Pelz was talking about it, how you get to enjoy food more. So when you eat food, it feels normal. And when I was in that state early in the beginning of my journey, like I would eat and eat and eat and never feel satisfied. Food felt bland. So I would try to find a way to cram in more food. Yeah, it's an addiction, okay? I don't care what anybody says. That, like, come on. That one guy I watched in the video, he was like, oh, you don't see anyone like robbing convenience stores for food. Well, no crap, because you can get, like, sorry if I'm yelling, I'm kind of loud. You can get crappy food for cheap. McDonald's dollar menu, any restaurant, you can go to the grocery store and get frozen stuff that's laced in this stuff for cheap. Of course, no one's going to rob a store because they're a food addict. Like, that video was so damn ignorant. I commented on it. I don't even like that guy. He's annoying. But yeah, it was just like, stop it. Stop it. Like, to say that food addiction isn't real when we have really intelligent people like Dr. Robert Lustig, Andrew Huberman, they're talking about it and they're showing the science. Dr. Mindy Pels, they're showing the science. And you can curb food addiction through the metabolic diets, like I mentioned, carnivore, keto, low carb diet, 50 grams of carbs, net carbs or less. You can do it with intermittent fasting if you don't want to give up your carbs. You can fast for a good 17, 18 hours or more, and you can help curb it that way, or doing OMAD or doing alternate day fasting. Anything that gets you in that metabolic switch will help you curb it for sure. So yes. Okay, I'm just going through the comments here. Oh, I hope that helps. I'm a little bit behind. Sorry, I got excited. It was cool. I was just so juiced when you first started. I'm like a huge cheerleader, but thanks for acknowledging my comment and not getting offended. Oh girl, I don't get offended easily. I'm good. Like when I'm a girl's girl, and I definitely don't take offense to things. And I appreciate that you're a straight shooter. I love girls that are a straight shooter. A lot of women are like, not straight shooters. They like to beat around the bush, but all of my, oh shoot. Oh, my camera's saying overheated, unable to record, but we're still on. That's fine. I don't know what's going on. How long have I been yakking for? At least my jaw, 46 minutes. At least my jaw's not hurting me. But yeah, I like girls who are straight up, and you're straight up. I don't have time for not being straight up, if you know what I'm saying. Carnivore is great. I have a huge sugar carb addiction. It helps me control my eating. Hopefully I'll get some weight off. Oh, you'll get weight off. You'll get weight off. Keep going with it. Keep going with it. You will get weight off. And if you come to a plateau, I can help you out and help you figure out things for sure. See what else you can do. But yeah, you'll definitely get the weight off. Keep going. Keep going. Keep adding it up. Like what you could do if the weight stumbles, you can probably skip breakfast and just eat a little later, like a couple hours later, and see if that helps. I had to bounce out and then come back because I was in the car, but I'm planning on going back on. Oh, thanks, girl, and rewatching. Thanks, Cheyenne. I appreciate you, girl. Aw. But yeah, I know a lot. You've been doing research on sugar addiction and food addiction and carb addiction. I know it is hard. I just want to give people this. It's going to take time. You're going to mess up. I'm still messing up. But you really have to have it in you to tell yourself that you are going to do this for you. Why are you going to do this for yourself? You want to feel good about yourself. You want to get healthy. You want to have a long health span, not just lifespan. There's a lot of people who are metabolically ill that are living way into their 60s and 70s. You want a health span. You don't want to be in your 60s and 70s like in a home or something. God forbid. Oh my gosh, I know a woman, my mom, so sad. This woman, she neglected her health. She was one of those women that did everything for everybody and not herself. And she had diabetes, and she was obese, but she was not like super obese, but it didn't matter. The metabolic damage was there. You can have metabolic damage without being obese. It happens. Tons of people have it. But with her, she was obese, and it's so sad. The diabetes, she had type 2 diabetes, and it took her ability to see. And she's in a home at 42. And now she can't work, and she's basically in a home. And I hear stories like that, and I'm like, this could have been avoided, because people are misguided by doctors pumping them with insulin. Insulin's making it worse. Like I was talking about, Dr. Robert Lustig talked about some mouse. Basically, it was a mouse, I explained it earlier, that had a genetic mutation, because they do this with mice. They obviously can't do it with humans because that would be criminal. And basically, it had high blood sugar everywhere else. But sorry, I'm saying this wrong. It basically, insulin was allowed to run free in the kidney, and there was no sugar. They just let the insulin run free. And he was noticing that mouse, that the kidney of the mouse, it started rotting. So giving people excess insulin, I don't know what the medical system's doing, but it's not helping. It's not like, I'm not a doctor. Like some doctor can argue that, but like, come on, we're doing something wrong. And it makes me so frustrated, because it's like the health system's supposed to help people. I've been very, let's say, pessimistic of the health system after I gave birth to my son in 2013. No, 14, about 10 years ago, because they couldn't help me. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, what is going on? So that's when my mistrust happened with them. And then I started learning about like people being ill and all of that. And then me getting ill and then doctors not really helping. And then like I just kind of got turned off by it. But doctors are giving me hope, like Dr. Robert Lusting. The doctor I saw today, I'm seeing a new doctor for my back. Yeah, we think there's a shoulder injury. Yeah, I know. The injuries keep coming. Christ, I just want to like work out. I told him like, can you just help me? I just want to go to the gym. Okay. I just want to work out and not be in pain. We think both of my doctors think I have a shoulder injury. I have an MRI scheduled for November, but I think I'm going to pay money and get my MRI done now because we think there's a rotator cuff injury, which would make sense because my shoulder's stronger. But I'm still in a lot of pain. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. But I do have a lot going on, but it's okay. I'm literally this mindset. I'm working on these affirmations. I actually got the Gaia app, which is like the whole Hay House Joe Dispenza app. And I started doing tons of meditations, just like trying to work through the trauma I have in my body because I hold on. That's my trauma, which is why I have tight muscles everywhere. But doctors are giving me hope. Like my doctor who's like, I'd rather inject you than put you on meds. And I'm like, I'm all for it. I don't want to be on meds. Meds just help. Yeah, they don't help. They help temporarily, but they don't solve the problem. My muscles are tight. So I'm like, just stab my muscles. And he started laughing. I'm like, just stab the hell out of them. He's going to put lidocaine and a bit of steroid in my joint here because it's all messed up just to help loosen the muscles so I can work out. I just want to exercise. And I want people to know that value your health now before it's too late. If you can move, and if you can get out of bed and clean yourself, you are in a state where you can take control of your health. I just want to inspire people to do that because you don't want to get to a point where it is too late or you have an uphill battle and you get diagnosed with something, God forbid. I want people to take control of their health with whatever way they see fit. I don't care what diet you do. As long as that diet is helping you reverse metabolic damage and you are getting the results you need. I just want people to show up for you. But anyway, I'm going to look at the comment here. Miss Maya says, amen. Amen. I'm so glad you're here, Maya. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for joining me for today's live stream, everyone. I'm going to go take it easy. Let me just explain. So I started ordering. Let me explain something with the cycle. So women out there, I'm learning about Dr. Mindy Pels, and she's talking about eating towards the cycle. So she was talking about from day one, the first day of your cycle is the day that you can do a lot of things. You can eat low carb, you can have a lot of energy, and you can go work out from day 1 to day 10. And then from day 10 to day 15, that's when you're ovulating. So you kind of want to, not do anything intense. And then after that, from day 15 to day 20, you can do a fast, do something intense, workout, or whatever. I'm going to be eating according to that cycle. So I'm coming up on day 20 on Saturday. So that's why I'm throwing in some hardcore 24-hour fast for the next couple of days. And then I'm going to be eating carbs during that week before my period because the hormone, I believe it's progesterone, that is the most dominant hormone during that week before your period, feeds off of a state where you are having carbs. And she's like, talk about having nature's carbs or what have you. Now, I did this in a way where, like, when I lost weight with OMAD and keto and all that, I didn't follow that and I'm fine. But right now I'm having issues. I'm having issues with my cycle and I don't know what the hell's going on. So I'm going to start eating towards my cycle. So I did say I was doing keto. I'm doing rotational cyclical keto. So once I start day 1 of my cycle, that's when I'm going to be back to a low carb diet and doing that. 5 days, I'll add in a little bit of carbs. And then from day 15 to 20, I will do keto, which is what I'm doing now. I'm doing fast. I'm doing intense fasting. And then from day 20 to day 28, that's when you take it easy and you kind of nurture yourself. And for those of you who don't want to follow the carb thing, that's fine. But here's a rule. That week before your period, you don't want to do too much intense exercise. Just do something that's light for you, whether it be a short walk. That's good enough. You should not be doing intense exercises that week before your period. Maybe do some yoga, some stretching, go for a light swim, stay in saunas, do lots of sauna stuff. But yeah, throughout my channel, like what's coming up, I'm going to start doing, I'm laughing because I don't want to do it. It's cold. But I think it's time I start doing cold baths just to help my brain heal, whatever the hell's going on with my brain, and introduce the brown fat. Brown fat is good fat. So brown fat helps you burn white fat, which is the other fat, the fat that many of us have excess of. So brown fat is fat that has tons of mitochondria, and it helps you heal and it helps boost up your metabolism. So I want to start doing cold plunges. Yeah, I'm becoming one of those. Only because I'm desperate to try anything to help this body heal. That's why I've been meditating like a monk. I just want to get healthy. That's all I want to do. I'll be doing that. I'll be doing the CGM again, getting the blood glucose monitor to show you guys how my body reacts. I'll be going into an infrared sauna. Oh, and meal preps. I ordered meal preps today from a meal prep company here in Calgary. I want to see if that works because I've been really having a lot of struggle preparing my meals. And I figure I spend like $150 to $200, maybe more, on food a week. And I'm noticing a lot of my foods are going bad because I'm not eating them, or I just don't have the energy to cook. So I just have not been like sticking to it. So I'm like, you know what? It's going to be easier for me to stick to a healthy diet if I get meal preps. So this meal prep is from a company that actually counts they all count their calories, but the calories are a little bit more reasonable. I was looking at HelloFresh, and a meal for HelloFresh is like 700-800 calories. Maybe for an OMAD, I'll eat that, but no, I don't want that every meal. So this meal prep company is local to Calgary, Edmonton, and Fort McMurray. I saw it on Instagram. I'm like, okay, let me try this. And their meals, like you can do keto meals and you can do regular meals. So I got a couple of keto meals because I want to do keto OMAD for the next couple of days. And they've got like keto donuts and stuff, and they share how you make it. So I thought I would do that to make it easy. So that will be like, I'm going to be filming that today with my new camera here. And I think it'll just be easier for me. Anything to make it easier. And it didn't cost me too much. Like if I get dinner and lunch, it's about $238 a week. I don't know, give or take. It depends how much you spend on food, but buying a meal prep company might be something to look into, but you have to be very diligent about A, how you react to the food. That's what I want to know. And B, how many calories are in the food. So yeah, just anything to make it easier. Because when your meal's prepared for you, especially if you're working a full-time job and you got things to do, it's kind of exhausting. And that's where the trap happens, when you're exhausted. That's when I always mess up. When I'm exhausted, I'm like, oh, screw it. I'm just going to grab this and not count my calories. And I was trying to get out of that little for the last couple of weeks. My dog is banging on the door. Calm down, girl. So yeah, but ever since I started throwing in the fast, things have been correcting. But yeah, I want to try this meal prep thing and see how it works out. Because I was looking for like those bodybuilding ones, like Mega Fit meals and stuff, but they don't have it here in Canada. But they do have it in the US. Like, try looking at a meal prep. It might make life easier so you don't stray off your diet. But anyway, let me see where we have. Oh, where am I here? Okay, sorry, I'm just looking at. Oh, here. This is the last comment. Whoop. Oh, talking about Dr. Mindy Pels, I just showed up. Yes, I love Dr. Mindy Pels. She's the one that got me into fasting. I hate that Greg Doofus said, like, bashed her in the video. Yeah, she says calories don't matter. They kind of don't, because we do process calories different. Like, protein is like, if you eat a meal like carnivore high in protein, that's what Robert Lustig said. I forgot. I wish I had my book here, but he basically said if you eat 1,600 calories of like fat and protein, like a steak or something, up to 30% of those calories are not being taken into your body. So it's being burned by the thermogenic effect of food and other things. I think the gut microbiome has something to play, which makes sense why when someone's on a keto diet, or when I was on a keto diet, I was able to eat more calories and still lose weight, like a couple hundred more. It was like 200 to 300 more, and still lose weight as if I was eating less calories. But yes, we're learning a lot. We're learning a lot. Again, I still believe counting calories is the best way to go. But if you find a method where you're able to get that skill done and you're not counting calories, you're still winning. For me personally, I like to, because I want to be able to jump in and out of diet. I think it's just the best way to keep track of things. Yeah, I think the best way to count calories though is doing a metabolic diet, because then your effort with counting calories isn't so actually reflects in the scale, if you know what I mean. I feel like if I counted calories and I ate carbs, like just bread and stuff, it would never reflect in the scale. But if I did keto or I did carnivore, it would reflect in the scale. Why is that? Because our body processes it differently. So yeah, Dr. Robert Lustig, he talked about the whole calorie thing. He talked about 3 reasons why fat, eating fat is mitigated differently. He did like a trans fat comparison with regular fat. He talked about fiber. When you eat a lot of fiber, some of those calories can't be counted because that fiber is funneling some of that calories to your gut microbiome. And then protein, the thermogenic effect of food, and how it takes our body more to process protein. So a calorie is a calorie, but is a calorie processed differently? I don't know. We might have to come up with a new system, but I don't trust the food companies to do that. Oh, I'll tell you, because you're in Alberta. I'm gonna try. I found them on Instagram. I was like, okay, this is cool. What's the name? Sorry, I'm just looking on my phone right now. Oh my God, I have all these emails. Oh, Just Bite Me Meals. So, Just Bite Me Meals. That's what they're called. They're in Edmonton, which you're at, Fort McMurray, and Calgary. So go check out their website and give them a try. I'm trying them for the first time. I want to see, because I was desperately looking for a meal prep company, but HelloFresh, bleh. And they ship all over Canada, just for anyone else in Canada. But in the United States, you guys have plenty of options. Oh my gosh, I wish I was in the States. Way more options than us. I have to go to bed, but wanted to come in and say hi. Oh, thank you so much for saying hi, DJ Zero. But anyway, it's a good time to wrap up the stream because I've been talking for an hour. Thank you so much for joining me on this live stream. I appreciate each and every one of you. It gives me motivation to keep going in this YouTube place because YouTube is so oversaturated and it's hard to get noticed. I may go back to daily uploads for a bit so I can get noticed a bit, but we'll see. I'll let you guys know. But thank you so much for being here. I hope this helps. Let's keep fighting, guys. Let's not give up. Food addiction's real, but it can be conquered. Just go on Google or YouTube, same thing, and research how people conquered it. And they basically conquered it by doing low carb, fasting, just the way to do it. And it makes sense. And we got this, guy. Guys, I see Sarai's comments. She's like, no, stay. I'm so sorry. I gotta go. I'm not sure why. I got things to do. I've got a kid. Oh, my kid. Oh, yeah. He wants his room. I took his room. He wants to go play video games. He said 5 o'clock p.m. and it's 4:33 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So I got to give my kid back his room. I'll catch the replay. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you, girl. You've been here for a while. Thank you, girl. Thank you. Thank you so much for supporting me. Great stream, Daniela. Oh, thank you. You guys make me so happy. We got this, guys. Let's crush it. Tell yourself that you can do it because you can do it. You got to keep convincing yourself. Even if you don't believe it, tell yourself over and over again. That's what I'm doing it. I can do this. I can achieve my goals. I can resist those cravings. I can overcome any obstacle in my path. I can get up from any failure, no matter what. If I mess up one day, I will get back up the next. Keep telling yourself that. We got this. Send you guys mad love. Bye.